Maduko.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the OGaming Nation Wars, brought to you by Daily Motion and Numerical. And it's my pleasure to invite once again the one and only Snoote to the show. It's not Snoote, it's Snooter. God damn it!
It's not so important. You can say Snoot. That's fine.
Norway. Well, we've been screwing up Zocker's name for the last 4 years, so I think we can get away with it. Oh, well, never mind. So, you put on a really good performance initially, and then, unfortunately, you weren't quite able to make it happen against Russia. Almost, but not quite. So, now you're actually in a rematch, once again. So, I have to wonder, you did really well in the first series, but that was, I think it's safe to say, off the back of one of your fantastic Protoss players. So, are you going to be able to pull out again? Or will this be something that you have to get more directly involved in?
I think the biggest mistake in the match against Russia was sending me before Aiki. That was a huge blunder. So I think for this match we will be a bit more intelligent with our decisions. That was just a really bad move by us. So hopefully this match will be a bit better.
Oh, Greg finally got his answer. Fantastic. Greg had been looking for an answer as to why you decided to go out on Polar Night there.
Yeah, I was going to go out on Polar Night anyway, but sending me before Aiki was not the best move since Happy has had a really good record against me. So that was just a really bad human mistake, I guess.
Alright, well, there's the explanation for that, so that's always good. Alright, well, a rematch. Are you feeling more confident or less confident now that you've, I suppose, shown the capability and the sort of builds that Aiki likes to do?
I think even, how should I say this, after watching Spain versus Poland, I wasn't really that impressed, so
Okay.
I think we can take this easy.
Alright, good
Even
to
if they know our strategies and stuff, I think it's fine.
Okay, Snooter, thank you very much, and we will be going into Dystar versus Targa very shortly here. Best of luck, and we'll be talking to Nurcio next from Team Poland. Alright, we're just going to bring Nurcio on the call here, and we can hear from him, and then we can get into the final match of the evening, which should be pretty good, I think. It's going to be a fun match, to say the least. It'll be a rematch, as we saw earlier. And there we go. We now have Nurcio on the call. Nurcio, welcome back.
Yeah, hi.
So, I gotta ask, what happened last series?
I don't know, it was pretty crazy. Myself, I was playing like really sloppy both games versus like Vortex and the other Zerg, Alastor. And, well, I like ZVP on Frost, but I don't like close spots, and unfortunately I spawn like 80% of the time close spots on Frost, and I win, well, not many of those games. So I don't know. I tried to do something there, but it clearly didn't work out. But fortunately for us, Mana could close down.
Yes, he was certainly able to do that. Now, I've got to ask, are you feeling more confident going into this rematch here against Norway?
I think it will definitely be better than last time, but well, I can't really tell if we're gonna win. It will be hard and close, but yeah, I think we have a better chance now.
Were you surprised by Norway's strength?
Maybe not Norway's, but Aki's, or, well, the pros player from Norway.
Yes. Yeah.
He definitely surprised everybody, I guess.
All right, fantastic stuff. Well, Nurture, I won't keep you on the line any longer. We want to get into this because obviously we're running pretty late now in the EU, so we don't want to keep everybody up. But thank you very much for your time and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, folks, there we go. Words from the Polish team captain, Nurcio, going into this final series here. One of these guys gets to go through to day 3, into the playoffs, the top 4, and the other team will be eliminated. And frankly, there's a lot of pride on the line between these two. Now, we're going to have Dystar versus Targa coming up first here on Frost LE. Greg, I've got to ask, Dystar versus Targa, that seems like a really odd, I suppose, matchup that could kind of go either way. What do you reckon?
Well, we saw it once already. They actually, unless I'm, excuse me,
No worries.
unless I'm mistaken, they played in the first match between these two teams, or Targa actually did that silly little Ling Baneling rush. Dystar just kind of swatted it away and then out macroed him really easily. I don't know. This is on Frost. It's a much bigger map. I would say it's much better for Zerg, particularly against Dystar, because both of the TVZs we've seen him play thus far, he's just purely done the Marine Rally kind of style, which is very much so dependent on brush distances. So if they get cross positions on Frost, or basically anything except horizontal close positions, it's quite hard to play that style, and that definitely seems to be Dystar's bread and butter. So I think that would favor Targa, but we haven't actually seen Targa play a macro ZVT. We've barely seen him play a macro game at all, and this is not a particularly good map to cheese ZVT on.
No.
So, I don't know. I don't feel like the map is very good for either of the players. I feel like Dystar is kind of generically better, but not by a whole lot. He didn't look super impressive in that game against Alistar. So, I'm kind of worried this might be another comedy of errors type match, because he doesn't feel like it's well suited to either of their strengths.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there, so who knows where this one could go. Guess we'll find out. Representing Poland to the southwest position in the Blue Trunks, it is Millennium's Dystar versus his opponent to the southeast position, the team that shall not be named, representing Norway in the Red Trunks, playing Zerg, it is Targa.
I like that team. I hope he sticks with them. He was actually talking trash about Dignitas in the pregame lobby. Kind of funny.
Amusing.
I don't think anyone from Poland is on Dignitas, so I'm not sure how that actually came up.
Targa used to be, though.
Yes, I would imagine that's why.
Yes, I would think so. He left a few days ago. But I believe Teffel just re-signed with Dignitas, so evidently Teffel's happy.
That's good for Teffel.
Indeed.
I remember Teffel. He was like one of the rising Zerg players, like around the time MLG started to do. Why is Dystar blind?
It's a great question.
I don't understand that comment. Remember, Teffel was like one of the rising star players when MLG was starting to host their, like, the little things at their New York office.
Yeah. And
then he just never really did too much else. I remember he went to 2 or 3 of those and did pretty okay.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, he was the player that went full Teffel against IMMVP and actually lost the one game at that point.
That was pretty funny. To be fair, he was playing against MVP Mech. MVP Mech makes a lot of players look funny. It just does things it's not really supposed to. Like, first he went mech when no one else went mech, and then when everyone else started playing mech, he started playing aggressive mech and timing push mech. Where it was like, no, you have to turtle if you play mech.
Apparently not.
He's probably one of the most embarrassing players to play against, because he can literally do anything, and he's reinvented so many styles, or just invented so many styles. Like, you never know what you're going to play against. He's very good at catering it to his specific opponent, too.
Yeah, I've got to say, I was pretty happy to see him get a spot in WCS EU again after Duck Duck retired.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good for him to stay in competition. He's always fun to watch. Even if he's not really top tier, he can always win against anyone, and it tends to be in pretty funny fashion, except for the person he's playing against.
Well, you know what? They can have a little bit of my pity, but I still want to be entertained, ultimately, so it's good to have MVP in a tournament able to do that. He's always so gracious in defeat as well, which I really like about him. He's just a seasoned professional.
Oh yeah, and an exceedingly nice guy. No one really has anything bad to say about him. Yeah, I'm still kind of curious why Dystar said he was blind earlier.
Well, apparently now he's deaf, so he's gradually losing his senses as the game progresses here.
Play StarCraft by sense of smell. Is sound really that important? I never play with sound in StarCraft. He should just man up and stop delaying us.
Funnily enough, it's very important for like a weak, like a lower level player, because those sound notifications are kind of important. But for someone that knows what they're doing, I can't imagine it's that important to hear your drones are under attack, because you've already got the minimap awareness to see that.
I mean, unless you're playing against a Terran who's nuking. Basically, what happens is I play with music on without sound until I get nuked the first time, and then I go turn sound on.
How often does that really happen these days?
Not very frequently. No one makes Ghosts DVZ anymore, and I don't know why. They're still fantastic units.
Really? Do you think so?
Yeah.
In that matchup?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why does that?
Actually, I guess no one makes Infestors anymore. Okay, I was stuck in like 6 months ago when Infestors were still pretty popular. You could just EMP them.
Just pop them. Yeah.
But I mean, Nuke Harass in itself is still good enough to justify making them. I suppose Fantastic is maybe a bit overstating it. But Nuke itself is very, very good, and always has been, and has always been the most underused part of them.
Yeah, well, that's a very early... Oh, I was going to say that's an early Spore Crawler, but no, that's just that's a morph to avoid the Reaper. But there you go. I hope that comment just makes people build nukes again, because I am highly disappointed to not see nukes in pro play lately.
I really think it's excellent harassment against Zerg if it goes to the late game. It's so hard to keep track of everything, and having the amount of detection necessary to actually cut off every possible route you could be nuked from is pretty much a practical impossibility. I mean, they're not even that expensive. I really don't understand why they haven't been used for.
Particularly at the end of the game where you're sitting on thousands of gas, it's like, well, I could build 30 Ravens, or, you know, maybe a few nukes might help.
To be fair, 30 Ravens is like the scariest thing in the game right now.
That is terrifying.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I really think Terran players are just kind of lazy. They would like to just be able to sit and rally Marines and Widow Mines across the map until the game ends every single time.
So in other words, they should play Zerg.
Yeah, kind of. Except usually it doesn't end so well for Zerg when we do that.
Yeah,
for Terran, it ends pretty well when they do the Marine train stuff.
That's unfortunate.
And Dystar is going for the immediate third CC once again. I think this is the same build he's done every single game.
Yeah, pretty much.
He beat Targo with it once before, so he might as well.
Why not? Yeah, playing straight up. Targo at the moment is also playing reasonably straight up. Nothing really out of the ordinary so far. He's still mining gas, though. And he's finished his metabolic boost. And he's over 100 gas, is not going lair.
He's still mining gas, but it's not for anything particularly early. There hasn't been a Roche Warren, a Baneling Nest, an Evo Chamber. Maybe he just likes to build it up. Because normally what happens is you take the drones off gas, and then you take another extractor and put like 6 drones back on gas all at once. So maybe he just prefers to save up, and then he'll drop 2 Evo Chambers in like
kind of a little stylistic
thing. Here, maybe. I think it's slightly less efficient, but it's not a big deal either way. But he's not dropping the Evo Chambers, and this is the point where he's going to have 250 gas. Okay, well he just missed the Evo Chambers.
Well, he'll be able to start those upgrades almost immediately, which is nice for him, but so far he's not really shown anything funky. Dystar showing the same kind of thing that we... Well, to be fair, I wouldn't even say Dystar's build. It was the same thing that Happy was kind of doing with his Hellions as well, just building up a decent number of Hellions, throwing in a couple of Reapers. It's a pretty common thing for Terran to do. The follow-up behind that will be 2 additional barracks, but that's, of course, way after the factory. Another gas is being taken here by Dystar as well. And his third is rolling out quite early. He's confident that he can hold the map control with those Hellions. And for the moment, he's right.
He's actually taking that third base very, very quickly. A lot of Terrans would leave the orbital in their main, just run off mules for a little bit longer. He's nowhere near saturation.
No.
There's no real need to take that third, but obviously feeling very confident. And against Targa, feeling confident that you're not going to get attacked is often a misread. But in this case, in this specific situation, Targa is playing pretty defensively, pretty standard, normal, passive kind of gameplay. So it will be no problem at all for Dystar to hold on to that for the time being.
Targa's also getting the worst end of these trades. He already lost a queen for nothing. It looks like he's going to lose almost lost a second queen. Takes out a Hellion at least, but he's lost a lot of Lings as well. This Hellion harass has been very nice so far. It's kept Targa on his toes, and killing off a queen is definitely good, considering that means he doesn't actually have a spare queen for creep spread.
Yeah, I don't know. Targa was kind of undercutting this a little bit. Not a whole lot of queens and not a whole lot of Zerglings. You really need one or the other, and he has neither.
He's up to 60 drones already, so he's been reasonably greedy in that respect.
That is the payoff for it, but if he takes too much damage, it's not really worth it. You'd rather get the Zerglings, then make a big round of drones, get up to 70-some, and be totally safe in the meantime.
Yep. Well, the queens are now finally the number they need to be to push that back.
As is, like you said, though, he lost a lot of time in terms of creep spread there. He actually doesn't have any active tumors out in front right now. which gets really, really dangerous when the follow-up Marine medevac attack comes, because you have no creep spread to try and get any kind of surrounds off. They just get right up next to your mineral line, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, that's not ideal, is it? And yeah, another good set of shots coming in here from Dystar. I've got to say, I've been fairly impressed with his Hellion control up to this point. He's been doing really well, getting good shots off and trading efficiently. Like, he'll lose one here and there, but of course that's because those haven't been repaired, so they're going to die eventually to queen shots, but this has been okay for Dystar up to this point, and now he does have these 3 command centers, 5 racks coming behind this, and an armory. Alright, so going super bio right now, and going straight into the 2-2.
Absolutely necessary for the whole Marine train kind of style, and it does seem like that's what he's going to go for again. You really, really need the production to back that up. You need a lot of units constantly moving out, constantly reinforcing. And I mentioned before the game that Targa really does not want to get close horizontal positions, because that is the best positions on this map for the Marine train style. But he did get horizontal, so he's going to have to deal with that. However, he has plenty of Zerglings here, and he has a lot of Banelings on the way. Not going to take any immediate damage. But once again, the Zergling counterattacks start, and let's see if Dystar actually makes a bunker this time.
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing last time we saw it.
I like this supply wall, though.
That's nice.
That's
quite
quite
cute.
Supply wall.
That is quite the supply wall, yes, indeed. This could end up being the Great Wall of Lag here from Europe. But as it stands, there's still a hole there, but it's not a particularly big one, so Dystar is fine for the moment. He's got a couple of Marines behind that, so those little run-bys aren't really going to do much. Dystar trying to engage again. He's being very, very rigorous when it comes to cleaning out these creep tumors. I would definitely respect that.
That kind of thing is incredibly important for the style he likes to play as well. The less creep there is, the better. That's always true. Creep is always an important element of Zerg gameplay that you want to limit as much as possible. But if you're constantly attacking, you don't want to be fighting on creep. So keeping that creep back is of utmost importance.
Yep. I'm just overdoing the stim just slightly there with only 2 medevacs and fighting up against a half-done hatchery. Didn't really need to do that, but not really a big deal. Now producing 13 Marines at a time and also going into mines. Drilling claws coming out pretty early on as well, which I like. That's something that he was a little bit slow last time. Tries to do a drop, doesn't really get anything done with it. So far, damage-wise to both players has been fairly low.
Targa's attempts to take a 4th hatchery have been pretty much nullified so far by the unit movement of Dystar, and that's getting to be problematic. But he is actually losing both those medevacs he had in the main to these mutas, so that compensates for it a little bit. Targa actually looking for an attack here.
Yeah, huge amounts of Banelings are being prepared there. Nice Widowmine shot, though, from Dystar, doing significant damage to that Mutaflock, but he actually allows one of his medevacs to die, but he loses a bunch of lings in the process because he's too busy controlling this massive attack that's coming into the 3rd base here. Huge amounts of Banelings invested to actually make this happen. The splits from Dystar have been pretty good. The mineral line will be sacked, but I happen to wonder at what cost, because the Mutalist just died horribly there. I think that was way too big an investment for the payoff.
That not pay off at all. He even kept most of the SCVs alive.
Oh, Jesus Christ, he only killed 6 workers. And he spent 4,000 minerals on that attack. Actually, more than that.
His entire army, which was a lot of mutas and banelings. It wasn't even just Zerglings that he was throwing away there. And
I mean, he's dead now, surely.
He only has a 12 Harvester lead. Yeah, I don't see any way he actually survives the counterattack here.
I do not know what that was all about. I mean, going after the 3rd, spending that many banelings in that open area to try and make that happen, just... He may be able to push this back, but with 13 Marines at a time coming out and +2/+2 kicking in, that's a tall order, I think. And it depends. Dystar may be able to also throw this game away, so we should never underestimate that.
He is quite good at that. I mean, he has proven his ability to throw much more 1 games, but that's not a good situation for Targa at all. Targa,
no.
He really likes just aggression. He likes attacking. That's kind of what he does. He definitely didn't think that one through, or at least he didn't scout enough to see what kind of defenses Dystar actually had, because that was not a good engagement to take. But Dystar also kind of just, he felt like he had an opportunity to go in for the kill there, but Targa had good enough macro, good enough reproduction to hold him off. And that threw away a good chunk of the advantage, because Targa still has a pretty solid economy. He is up by about 20 harvesters. He has a 4th base running and a 5th base on the way. He started to rebuild his Mutaflock. That's honestly the biggest problem, is he lost so many mutas there, and having a good amount of mutas is so important in the current mid-game CVT styles, because that's the only real way you can force Terran to play very defensively. Muta counterattacks are so very powerful, but there's nothing Dystar really has to worry about. He can just send units across the map with impunity at this point.
Well, especially with that many mines, and gotta be careful with those Mutalisks. The last thing you want to do is be hitting the mines. That minefield is actually very nicely spread out. I like that a lot. And in the meantime, a bunch of Marines have been split up to try and deal with this. With +2, they should be able to make their way through that quite easily. Interesting. Oh, looks like somehow, yeah, he took a little bit of damage there, but he takes the 4th out. So that's not too bad. He ate a couple of Banelings here and there. The Widow minefield is still quite dangerous. He's decided he wants to pull that back, though.
That's probably pretty smart of him. He lost quite a few Marines there, actually running back and forth, trying to kill that hatchery and trying to pressure. His multitasking just wasn't up to the job, and he lost quite a bit.
Yeah.
So smart to pull back, regroup, actually make sure he has enough units to defend his Widow Mine so he doesn't lose those needlessly. And he is nearly maxed, so he should be moving out pretty quickly here. He's approaching +3 weapons, +3 carapace is quite far away. But on target side of the map, he doesn't even have a hive started yet, so those 3/3 upgrades are a distant, distant dream for him. And if Dystar really wants to, he could just wait for at least some +3 weapons, but it looks like he's going to get aggressive before that.
Well, and let's see what happens with that.
This is kind of where he lost the game against Alistair.
Oh, all the Widow Mines got killed! All the Widow Mines got killed before they detonated. That's an absolute disaster for Dystar. Oh, we got to see yet another throw. There are, however, more Widow Mines deployed. A lot of the Banelings get hit, but not all of them in here. And this entire defensive line has come to pieces. However, the reinforcements come in from Dystar and push it away. This really is turning into a game of throws.
Yeah, that was pretty bad on both ends. That initial engagement from Dystar, well, it wasn't even an engagement, he just got caught. Lost a lot of stuff. But then Targa, kind of like Alistair was in the previous games, he just like, he thought he saw an opportunity, but Dystar, he managed to split just well enough, plus he had some Widow Mines set up. He had a Thor coming in that gave him a lot of extra tankiness. Just wasn't enough.
Solid lane run by, though.
Yeah, circling run bys everywhere, actually. Multiple pronged attacks. Dystar going to be able to defend the bottom base, but taking a lot of SCV damage to his 3rd. And not really killing enough units to compensate for it. He didn't manage to catch the army down bottom, he just drove it away.
Some Lings even got to the main that are being incredibly annoying there, just trying to pick up an SCV or 2. So, Targa with a nice bit of aggression there, and Dystar, well, let's just say his wall being on one side didn't really help him all that much. There was no wall on the other, so that didn't work out at all. The Muta count is now going in there. Oh, and that could have been nice, but he ran it right into the bunker there, and I think that Dystar's now noticed, because he could have perhaps caught that transfer, but he eats a couple of Thor shots for his trouble, and ends up being pushed back across the map. In the process, though, he's actually managed to secure that 4th base, and that's about complete now.
No, that actually ended up being his 5th base. He took the bottom left. As
yes, he did.
The central map.
Yeah.
So he's been running on 4th base for a little bit, but yeah, securing that 5th base. The big thing though is he's not even he hasn't even started his hive yet. He has the infestation pit. Hive's not on the way, which means he's fighting at 2/2, about to be against 3/3 plus Thors, which means he's going to be incredibly inefficient in battles right now, unless he gets just Baneling hits that should not happen. But Dystar unfortunately has shown a habit of letting those Baneling hit happen. So it's not completely hopeless for Targa, but Dystar's army is starting to get really risky.
Yeah, that is true. Alright, well, we're going to see a couple more Banelings morphed in. Those really kind of need to be cancelled now. No, that's... they did a little bit of damage, but not really too much. Dystar continuing to push forward. He has Thors, he's got Widow Mines, he's got about 6 of them. Maybe not as many as he wants, but those Thors will certainly help out an awful lot against this. And here comes some Banelings. There's a flank, though, a pretty good one at that, coming in from the left. And he tries to crush this, but Dystar split's actually really good here. The remaining Marines come in, and he's not quite able to. There's just so many Banelings that Dystar can't deal with it.
That was... Dystar did not set up very well for that at all. He didn't have enough Widow Mines, he didn't have his Marines all together, and the ones that he did have were clumped, so they died really quickly to Baneling hits. He has a lot of units back at home that really should have been in there with that attack. You have to have everything together, because the Zerg army at this point is just so big it can absolutely wipe you off the map if you let it. And, I don't know, Dystar, again, with just sloppy attacks, bad in coordination. And this is starting to get to the point where Targa has a really, really scary Mutaball. He has a lot of economy going, he has a lot of reproduction ability, so even if he's fighting inefficiently, which he should be, he might be able to make up for it with his production.
3rd base is going to take, well, 4th base, in fact, going to take significant damage. Might even lose the sensor tower. There's the stim, though, so Targa's probably going to want to get out of there. 3/3 Marines against 2/0 Mutalisks, well, that only tends to go one way. The Marines continue to do damage at the 5th base and has actually gutted the mineral line quite nicely here, so Dystar able to put on a little bit more pressure and get things back as the Lings finally come to respond to that incredibly slow response there from Targa, so he took a lot of damage there.
He sent some Zerglings early on, it wasn't enough.
Wasn't enough.
Misjudged.
Oh, my!
Wow.
Oh! Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that made my day. Well, he had a scary mutable.
So they have about equal about equal supplies again. Dystar going in once more. He's setting up a little bit better this time. He's keeping all of his Marines together. He has more Widow Mines, but still an awful lot of bandits coming in here.
There are quite a few, I gotta say, but those Thors seem to be doing the job. In fact, there's 3 Thors there and a bunch of Marines. That might be the nail in the coffin here for Targa. He's doing a good amount of damage. The Widow Mine hit comes in behind. There's only 2 Mutalists left. There's the GG. Well, that was as entertaining as I'd hoped. Let me put it that way.
That was the engagement
fun
that Dystar
game.
needed. He'd been looking for that for the last like 3 push-outs, and he finally got it. He finally had. I don't know. The biggest thing was he just kept worrying about that 5th base too much. He kept splitting off units to go try and kill that, and then he would lose his entire army in return for it. If he had just focused on going for the jugular the entire time, I think that would have ended much quicker.
I think so.
But the 3/3 upgrades into Thors finally kick in, which is too much to handle.
Definitely, it did take a little while to get there. Those losing all of those mutas, I think there was definitely the nail in the coffin. That was absolutely brutal. So many died. It was wonderful. Well, that's Targa out of the picture. So that leaves us with the Polish lineup there. What am I talking about? The Polish lineup is Norwegian. What am I on about? The Norwegian lineup of Snooter and I'm not sure if I even pronounce his name. Ike. It is Ike, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I say it, I question myself,
right.
and I wonder if I'm just like completely misremembering it.
It doesn't sound right, but I guess it is. So, I mean, considering the performance, you can definitely say Targo is the weakest player on that squad at the moment. Admittedly, considering Snoot's only come out once and didn't, well, he kind of lost when he did. Yeah. It's hard to say whether or not Snoot's having a good day or not. So, Ike's still a good option, I think, especially against Dystar, and it wouldn't surprise me if they sent him out there. Admittedly, you might even want to send Snoot out because instead of sending Snoot out against Happy, where it's a much worse matchup, you send Snoot against someone like Dystar, and I think Snoot wins most of the time.
You would think so, but I don't know. At this point, Ike actually kind of seems like the one who's carrying them. If anyone, he's definitely the one doing more work.
Oh, absolutely.
You might want to hold on. Well, so I guess I'm actually agreeing. But you might want to hold on to him and just send Snoot out because you want to wear them down for Ike instead of actually just thinking that Snoot could win. Because Snoot CVT, I don't know, it looked very suspect against Happy. Like, he scouted what was happening, he should have known, and then he just kind of made a lot of mistakes and got massively out-multitasked. Yeah. And Dystar doesn't really seem like the kind of player who's going to out-multitask you, but he looked kind of weak, and I would worry about that. I don't know, I definitely think if they're going to win, it's going to be on the back of Ike. And against the likes of Nurcio, when his PvZ against Slivko looked pretty suspect, I don't know, I'm not liking their odds there. I think... Okay, now that I think it through, I think they need to hold on to Snoot to have any chance of beating Nurcio, so they should send out Ike here.